Welcome to the new video of NeuroPhilos. Get ready to dive into a gripping tale that will leave you breathless, thinking, and inspired. Whether you're here for the mystery, the drama, or the unexpected twists, you're in the right place. Make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe so you never miss another powerful story. Let's begin. The trap of tomorrow. Have you ever caught yourself delaying something important, even when you know the delay will only make life harder? You tell yourself it's just one more day. You'll start tomorrow, when you're rested, inspired, or when the timing feels right. But that perfect moment never arrives, because procrastination isn't about laziness, and it's not about poor planning. It's a mirror reflecting the way you deal with discomfort, fear, and self-doubt. Maybe it's that email you need to send, the project you promised to begin, or the fitness plan you keep postponing. You convince yourself you're waiting for motivation, yet deep down, you know motivation never appears before action. It appears because of it. Still, you wait. Days stretch into weeks, and weeks into guilt. Each time you choose the easier path, you teach your brain that escape is safer than effort. You reinforce a dangerous message: my words can't be trusted. Your mind starts to believe that avoiding discomfort is the correct response, and slowly, almost invisibly, you begin to live at the mercy of your own excuses. That is the silent cost of procrastination. It steals not only your time but your self-respect. Every postponed decision chips away at your confidence until you start to question your own ability to follow through. You stop trusting yourself. You stop believing that you can act when it matters. But if procrastination hurts so much, why do we keep doing it? Why does the same cycle repeat even when we swear we're done with it? The answer lies deep within the mechanics of the human brain. Your mind wasn't built for modern life. It was built for survival. In the ancient world, avoiding pain was a good strategy. Our ancestors, who hesitated before danger, survived longer. But in the modern world, the threats have changed. We're no longer running from predators. We're running from uncomfortable emotions. Fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of not being good enough. And our brain still reacts the same way. It avoids pain. It chooses comfort. It convinces us that safety lies in doing nothing. The cruel part is that society rewards this paralysis. We live in an age where distraction is sold as relief. A single notification can steal your focus. An endless stream of entertainment numbs your anxiety. Technology monetizes your hesitation. Every moment you postpone meaningful action, something else is ready to fill that space with noise and dopamine. You aren't just battling laziness. You're battling a global industry designed to keep you distracted. And yet, awareness is the first crack in the wall. When you understand that procrastination isn't a personal weakness but a programmed response, you can begin to fight it consciously. You can stop viewing it as a character flaw and start seeing it as a signal, a message from your brain that you're standing at the edge of growth. Because that's what discomfort really is. Proof that you're about to evolve. Here's the truth most people don't want to face. Every act of procrastination is a small surrender. When you say later, what you really mean is never. You trade the satisfaction of progress for the temporary comfort of avoidance. But comfort is a liar. It keeps you still while life moves forward without you. Breaking this cycle begins with honesty. Admit that there will never be a perfect moment. There will always be fear, always resistance, always a reason to wait. The people who succeed aren't fearless. They simply act despite fear. They use discomfort as fuel instead of an excuse. So the next time you feel yourself hesitating, remember this. The battle isn't against the task in front of you, it's against the voice inside that says you're not ready. You don't need more motivation. You need to stop negotiating with your weakness. Take one small step now before your mind talks you out of it. Because the longer you wait, the louder that voice becomes. Procrastination promises peace but delivers regret. Action feels painful for a moment, but freedom follows right after. One choice at a time, you can retrain your brain to move, to act, to live. Tomorrow is a mirage. The only real moment is now, and now is waiting for you to begin. The battle inside your brain. Inside your mind, two powerful forces are constantly at war. One pulls you toward comfort, ease, and instant pleasure. The other pushes you toward discipline, purpose, and long-term growth. Every decision you make, every hesitation, every burst of motivation, every relapse into distraction is a reflection of this hidden battle. On one side stands your limbic system, the ancient, impulsive part of your brain that governs emotions and survival instincts. It was designed thousands of years ago when humans lived in caves, hunted for food, and ran from danger. Its job is simple: avoid pain, seek pleasure. When it senses discomfort, whether physical or emotional, it triggers alarms. That same instinct that once helped your ancestors survive now tricks you into avoiding harmless tasks, like replying to emails, writing reports, or studying for exams. To your limbic system, those things feel threatening because they require effort and risk failure. On the other side is your prefrontal cortex, the most evolved part of your brain. It's responsible for logic, planning, and self-control. It helps you set goals, manage impulses, and visualize the future. The prefrontal cortex is the reason you can dream, plan, and build a meaningful life. But compared to the limbic system, it's slow. It requires energy and focus to operate. And that's why, in the daily war for control, the limbic system usually wins. It acts faster, louder, and with more emotional power. Every time you think, "I'll start in 5 minutes," that's your limbic system whispering comfort into your ear. Every time you give in to that whisper, you strengthen its control. You reward avoidance. You feed the beast that sabotages your focus. The prefrontal cortex tries to remind you of your goals, your values, your bigger picture, but its voice is quiet, easily drowned out by the noise of temptation. Modern society has made this battle harder than ever before. The world has become an amusement park for your limbic system. Instant gratification is everywhere. Social media notifications, short-form videos, junk food, video games, and constant digital noise. Every beep, buzz, and scroll releases a tiny burst of dopamine, the brain's pleasure chemical. And your limbic system loves dopamine. It craves it. It will always choose the easiest, fastest source of that chemical hit. That's why watching 10 short videos feels easier than writing 1 page of a report. That's why scrolling through your phone feels harmless, but leaves you drained and anxious afterward. Your brain is being tricked. These digital pleasures are not rewards. They are distractions disguised as relief. They hijack your dopamine circuits, leaving your prefrontal cortex weaker and your impulse-driven brain stronger. This cycle trains your mind to seek comfort and reject challenge. The moment you try to focus, the limbic system detects discomfort and sends you searching for relief, and you obey without realizing it. You grab your phone, open a new tab, check your messages, anything to avoid the feeling of effort. This pattern repeats until it becomes automatic. You are no longer consciously deciding, you are reacting. You become, in a sense, a passenger in your own brain. But here's the good news. The same brain that created this habit can unlearn it. You can retrain your mind to favor the prefrontal cortex, to make logic louder than emotion. It begins with awareness. When you notice that inner pull toward escape, stop for a moment. Recognize it not as weakness but as programming. You're not lazy. Your brain is simply doing what it's been trained to do. Start with small acts of defiance. Every time you resist an impulse, every time you sit down and begin the task before your mind finds excuses, you are strengthening your prefrontal cortex. You're teaching your brain that discomfort is not danger. You are building the muscle of focus. Over time, this rewiring changes how you respond to resistance. What once felt unbearable starts to feel normal. What once drained you begins to empower you. Remember this, procrastination is not a lack of discipline. It's a neurological imbalance between two competing systems. The one that wins is the one you feed most. If you constantly surrender to comfort, your limbic system becomes your master. But if you act despite discomfort, if you build habits that reward effort over ease, you rewire your brain for growth. Your goal is not to eliminate the limbic system, it's to tame it. To remind it that you are not living in a cave anymore, that the discomfort of action will not kill you, it will shape you. Every small act of focus, every moment you push through resistance is a victory in that silent war. So the next time you hesitate, remember this battle. Don't wait for motivation. Don't listen to the voice that says not now. Act first, feel later. Because every second you delay, the wrong side grows stronger, and every second you act, you take back control of your mind, your time, and your life. Fear, the hidden master of delay. If procrastination were a monster, fear would be its beating heart. Every hesitation, Every postponed dream, every "I'll do it later," stems from one emotion you rarely admit to yourself: fear. But it isn't the obvious kind. It's not the fear of physical danger or public embarrassment. It's subtle, quiet, and disguised. It hides beneath your routines, whispering in your decisions, and sabotaging your progress without ever showing its face. When you delay action, you aren't avoiding the task itself. You're avoiding what that task represents. Starting means exposing yourself to judgment, to failure, to the possibility that you might not be as capable as you hope. As long as you delay, that possibility stays hidden, safe in imagination. You can still believe, "I could do it if I really wanted to." That comforting lie shields your ego but kills your progress. This is why you suddenly need to clean your room before working, why you research endlessly before beginning, or why you convince yourself you're not ready yet. Those aren't coincidences, they're strategies. Your brain is protecting you from emotional pain by creating distraction. It fabricates urgency and meaningless tasks to avoid meaningful ones. The more important something is to your growth, the more your mind will try to run from it. This pattern is known as self-sabotage, and it's one of the brain's most sophisticated defense mechanisms. When you feel fear, your mind doesn't always fight, it flees. It builds walls made of procrastination, perfectionism, and excuses. You convince yourself that waiting is wise, that you're being cautious, when in truth, you're building a prison cell with your own hands. The tragedy is that most people never see the bars. They think they're just unmotivated or lazy, when in fact, they're terrified. Terrified of discovering their limits, terrified of finding out they're ordinary, terrified that even their best effort might not be enough. So they hide behind the illusion of potential. It's easier to dream of what you could be than to face what you are. But here's the cruel irony. The more you avoid what scares you, the more power fear gains. It grows quietly, feeding on your inaction. Each day you postpone something important, the fear becomes stronger and more convincing. It doesn't just stop you from acting, it reshapes your identity. You start to become the kind of person who hesitates. You begin to say things like, "I'm just not disciplined," or "I work better under pressure," because it's easier to build an identity around procrastination than to face the pain of changing it. What you don't realize is that every time you give in to fear, you're practicing failure, you're rehearsing surrender. And the more you repeat that pattern, the easier it becomes to quit before you even start. Over time, you're not just avoiding tasks, you're avoiding life itself. But what if you flipped the perspective? What if fear wasn't the enemy, but the compass? Because the truth is this, fear always points toward what matters most. You don't fear things that are meaningless. You fear what could change you. That's why every great achievement sits on the other side of discomfort. Growth demands exposure. Progress demands risk. The people you admire aren't fearless. They've simply learned to act while afraid. They understand that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's movement in spite of it. They feel the same trembling resistance you do, but they push forward knowing that inaction hurts more than failure ever could. The antidote to fear isn't confidence. It's action. Confidence is the result, not the requirement. Every time you move forward despite fear, your brain learns a new truth. This won't destroy me. And with that repetition, the power of fear begins to fade. Action rewires your nervous system. The moment you take a step, even a small one, your brain shifts from threat mode to problem-solving mode. Anxiety transforms into focus. Worry turns into momentum. Understand this clearly. Procrastination is not about the task. It's about your relationship with discomfort. The key is not to eliminate fear, but to walk with it. Let it come along for the journey, but never hand it the steering wheel. Because fear will always be there. It's part of being human. But courage is the choice to move anyway. The next time you feel that heavy pull of avoidance, pause. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Then take one small step toward it. Send the message, open the file, write the first sentence. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to start. Because the truth is simple and brutal. Fear never goes away. It just changes shape. The only thing that weakens it is motion. And if you can learn to act even when afraid, you'll discover something extraordinary. Fear doesn't disappear when you move forward. it transforms into freedom. The system that feeds your weakness. If procrastination feels impossible to defeat, it's because you're not just fighting yourself, you're fighting a machine built to keep you distracted. The modern world doesn't simply allow procrastination, it profits from it. Every moment you hesitate, someone else is making money from your attention. The longer you delay meaningful action, the more valuable you become to companies that thrive on keeping you scrolling, watching, and consuming. We live in what could be called the age of distraction, a time when your focus is the most sought-after resource on Earth. Decades ago, effort and patience were required for entertainment or connection. You had to walk to a library to read, wait for a letter to arrive, or sit through commercials before your favorite show. Today, a single tap delivers an endless flood of stimulation. You don't have to wait for pleasure. You're surrounded by it, 24/7. But this convenience comes with a cost. Your ability to focus is being systematically dismantled. Every social media platform, every streaming service, every news app is built around one goal: to keep you there for as long as possible. Infinite scrolls, autoplay, and personalized algorithms aren't coincidences. They are deliberate tools designed by behavioral scientists who understand your brain better than you do. They study how to make your dopamine receptors fire repeatedly until you lose track of time and yourself. You might think you're just checking your phone for a minute, but those minutes have been engineered into hours. The more you consume, the more the system learns about what keeps you hooked. The result is a loop so subtle and so powerful that even the smartest people in the world fall into it. You aren't choosing distraction. Distraction is choosing you, and it's not just about wasting time. It's about reshaping how your brain expects the world to work. Constant bursts of dopamine from quick entertainment reprogram your nervous system to crave immediate reward. You become addicted to ease. You lose patience for effort. Anything that takes time, reading a book, studying, exercising, building a business, feels unbearably slow. Your brain screams for shortcuts, and when life doesn't provide them, you quit. Here's the cruel twist. The more you procrastinate, the guiltier you feel. The more guilty you feel, the more you seek comfort. And where do you find comfort? In the same distractions that caused the guilt in the first place. You scroll to escape the anxiety of not working, but the scrolling makes that anxiety worse. This cycle of guilt and relief becomes a cage, comfortable, addictive, and invisible. Look around you. Almost everyone you know is caught in the same trap. People claim they're busy, yet their productivity is collapsing. They fill their days with movement, but achieve nothing of meaning. We have never had so much access to information, yet we've never been more confused. We have never been so connected, yet we've never felt so lost. The truth is harsh but liberating. The system doesn't want you to focus. A distracted person is predictable. A procrastinator is easy to sell to. A person chasing comfort never questions who benefits from their inaction. When you waste time, you don't just lose hours, you surrender control. But understanding the system gives you power over it. The first step is to see distraction for what it is, a weapon aimed at your attention. Every time you pick up your phone when you should be working, imagine someone cashing a check with your stolen focus. Because that's exactly what's happening. Attention is currency, and you've been spending it without realizing its value. So how do you fight back? You begin by reclaiming your environment. Turn off notifications. Delete one app that drains your focus. Set boundaries, real, physical boundaries, around your time. When you work, remove the noise. When you rest, rest completely. Do not live halfway between focus and distraction, because that half state is where procrastination thrives. Second, practice boredom. Allow yourself moments without stimulation. Sit in silence, take walks without your phone, stare out a window. It sounds simple, even dull, but boredom is how your brain detoxes from dopamine overload. It's how you reset your attention span. The more comfortable you become with silence, the more powerful your focus becomes when it's time to act. Finally, remember that this battle is not just personal, it's cultural. When you choose to focus, you rebel. You stand against a trillion-dollar system built to make you numb and compliant. Every time you act instead of scroll, every time you choose progress over distraction, you reclaim a piece of your freedom. Procrastination isn't only about fear anymore, it's about power. And the moment you decide to stop feeding the system with your time, you begin to take that power back. The modern world is loud, manipulative, and relentless, but it cannot control the mind of someone who has chosen awareness. Distraction is the enemy's language. Silence, focus, and deliberate action are yours. And once you master those, no algorithm in the world can own you again. The cure: action before emotion. Now that you understand how procrastination works, how fear, habit, and an entire system conspire to keep you trapped, the question remains, how do you break free? The answer isn't motivation, inspiration, or waiting for a magical burst of energy. The cure is action. Movement before emotion. Discipline before desire. Because motivation doesn't create action. Action creates motivation. The human mind is a creature of rhythm. It learns by repetition, not by wishful thinking. You can't simply think your way out of procrastination. You must act your way out. The more you move forward, even in small, imperfect steps, the more your brain learns that doing is safe and rewarding. So how do you start when every part of you resists? You use the same psychology that has been used against you and turn it into your greatest weapon. 1. The 5-second rule: outsmart your brain. Your limbic system acts in milliseconds. The moment you think about doing something uncomfortable, it floods your body with hesitation. That's why thinking too long kills momentum. The trick then is to act before your brain talks you out of it. Count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Don't debate, don't plan, don't wait. Move. Open the document. Make the call. Step outside. This countdown interrupts the brain's automatic fear response and gives control back to your prefrontal cortex. It's simple, but it works because it stops hesitation from turning into paralysis. You're not trying to be fearless, you're trying to give fear less time to speak. 2. The Pomodoro technique. Turn effort into a game. Your brain hates long, endless tasks, but it loves achievable challenges. That's why the Pomodoro technique works so well. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Work with full focus, no distractions, no breaks. When the timer ends, rest for 5 minutes. Then start again. Those 25 minutes are short enough that your brain doesn't panic, yet long enough to build momentum. After 4 rounds, reward yourself with a longer break. Over time, this method retrains your brain to associate effort with progress instead of exhaustion. It breaks giant goals into manageable victories, and every session becomes proof that you can focus. 3. The Zeigarnik effect. Leave things unfinished. Ever noticed how an unfinished movie scene stays in your mind until you see what happens next? That's the Zeigarnik effect, your brain's natural discomfort with incomplete tasks. You can use this to your advantage. If starting feels impossible, just begin part of a task. Write 1 sentence. Read 1 paragraph. Open the project file, then stop. Your brain will itch to finish what it started. That gentle pull of incompletion will push you back into motion naturally. The hardest part of any journey isn't continuing, it's beginning. 4. The identity of action. Redefine who you are. Most people say, "I'm trying to be more productive." That phrase is fatal. Trying reinforces the belief that you're not that person yet. The truth is, identity drives behavior far more than willpower does. Stop saying, "I'm trying to be disciplined." Start saying, "I'm the kind of person who takes action, even when it's uncomfortable." Because when you act from identity, your decisions align automatically. Your subconscious doesn't question, it obeys. Identity isn't something you wait to earn. It's something you claim through repetition. Each time you act when you don't feel like it, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. The more votes you cast, the stronger that identity becomes, until procrastination no longer fits who you are. 5. Action as a lifestyle. Build the new default. You don't destroy procrastination once, you starve it daily. That means creating an environment where action is easier than avoidance. Keep your workspace clean. Remove temptations. Make it simple to start and difficult to quit. Surround yourself with reminders of movement, a list, a vision board, a single goal written where you can see it every day. And most importantly, stop relying on feeling ready. You will never feel ready. The mind follows the body. Stand up, move forward, start small, but start now. The first 10 minutes of action dissolve more fear than 10 hours of planning ever could. At its core, the war against procrastination is a war against inaction. It's not about doing more, it's about doing consistently. It's about showing your brain that discomfort isn't a signal to run. It's a sign you're alive, growing, evolving. You have two options. Wait for life to feel right, or make life right through motion. Every day you delay, your dreams decay a little more in the dark corners of someday. But every day you act, you breathe life back into them.
In the end, there are only two kinds of people: those who act and those who keep waiting for the perfect time. The truth is, the perfect time is now. Not when it feels easy, not when it feels safe, now. Because later isn't a time, it's a trap. And the key to freedom is simple: move.